is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Blackmore. We are South.
Another beautiful baseball Sunday in Atlanta as we welcome you to Sunday Braves from Turner Field, where this afternoon the Atlanta Braves hope to polish off the Arizona Diamondbacks and complete a 3-game sweep. Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South is brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Make it a Hyundai Sunday every week on Fox Sports South. Big crowd filing in and a big crowd in the booth this afternoon. Joe, Tom, and Chip with you for the series wrap-up. It's been a terrific run for the Braves of late, fellas, and especially after the All-Star break where this offense is tuning up for a postseason run.
Yeah, team's been playing real well since the All-Star break, and the offense, as you said, Chip, has really picked it up. There you see the record, 21-14, which is fourth best in the National League, but the home runs, leading the National League in home runs, the average, the runs per game. So offensively, they've really picked it up. And, Joe, 3 guys in particular have been real hot.
3 guys that you hope stay hot the rest of the season. Constanza, since he came up. Chipper Jones, since he came back from the disabled list especially. And Michael Bourne, a .345 average. Those numbers include a few games that he played with Houston before he came to Atlanta after the All-Star break. And one other guy, don't forget about Dan Uggla, leading the world in homers since the All-Star break with 14.
Speed never slumps, they say, and seemingly Dan Uggla isn't slumping either after the break. That's good news for the Braves. We saw plenty of that in Game 1 of the series. We saw plenty of that and plenty of power in Game 2 from Atlanta as well. Let's see if the Braves can finish off this homestand with a flourish against the Diamondbacks next. Field. It's been an exceptionally good drawing homestand for the Braves with the Cubs, the Giants, and the Diamondbacks coming a-calling. And we'll see if Atlanta can finish off its 10th series sweep this afternoon against Arizona. The Diamondbacks slumping. They've lost 4 in a row. Kirk Gibson has shuffled his Suzuki starting lineup. Kelly Johnson, the former Brave, now leading off today. Chris Young hitting third. He's in the throes of a big slump, and always good to see this Diamondback offense without Mr. Upton in the middle of it.
Yeah, you got to like not having him in there, and I'm sure Tim Hudson does today. He's making his 26th start of the year. You see his numbers on the season. 8-2 in his last 13 starts, so he's been pitching real well as of late, and 5-0 in his career with a 1.54 ERA against the Diamondbacks.
And that leads us to his 4 keys to pitching success. And it includes his work against the Diamondbacks. In fact, he's got 2 perfect records working. Day games today. He's 3-0 in day games this year with a 1.93 ERA. And as Tom just told you, in 7 starts, he's never lost to the Diamondbacks. So let's hope that he continues that good work. And overall at home this year, 7-4.
Here's the defense for Hudson today. Left to right in the outfield. Constanza, Bourne, and Hayward. Great catch by Michael Bourne last night. We'll talk about that as well as the game goes on. Chipper Jones, a scheduled day off, means Martin Prado's at third base, and Brian McCann back in behind the plate for Tim Hudson. James Hoy will have the strike zone today. Phil Cuzzy at first. Tom Hallion at second. Bill Miller will be the umpire over at third. Warm, muggy day as we wrap up the homestand this afternoon. "91 degrees, the official temperature at first pitch. And 2 quick strikes to Diamondbacks leadoff man Kelly Johnson. And that's been a problem for Kelly all year long. He is a strikeout machine. That's the 132nd time he's been struck out this year.
I like this pace that Tim's on, though.
Yeah. You have to like it, yes.
3 pitches, a strikeout. I like it.
3 pitches, 3 strikes, 1 out. Let's move on to the next guy.
And the next guy is Willie Bloomquist, the shortstop. Driven foul and out of play for a quick strike. Arizona added this guy to try to bring some veteran leadership to this young Diamondbacks club. Willie's 33 years old. And he'll be the second out. A strikeout and a ground out for Hudson to start the game.
Bad news for the Diamondbacks is that they're on a little bit of a downturn. They've lost 4 straight, and yet they haven't lost any ground because the Giants can't win either. So they still enjoy a 2.5 game lead over San Francisco.
I guess when things aren't going well, you're always looking for the silver lining, and that would be the silver lining that during this little rut that they're in, they've not lost any ground, and they're knocking days off the calendar. So you've got to kind of hang your hat on that until things get turned around.
And Chris Young hopes to turn things around too. He's one of many Arizona hitters, fellas, that isn't hitting right now. That's been a team-wide problem this entire road trip.
Their last 5, just a 160 average and under 2 runs per game.
You look at some of those numbers offensively, they're lucky they're 1-5. I mean 1-4, not 0-5.
Were it not for a 9th inning double off of Roy Halladay to rally to beat the Phillies, they would be 0-5.
So if this trip for Arizona was a barometer of how they would fare against the Phillies and Braves, I would say that it's not been a very good barometer for them.
I would say that they would be going back thinking that if we win the division, we got to hope we're going to. But that's not going to happen.
No. Chris Young 1 for 25 in his last 25 at bats. And a blissfully unaware Ryan Roberts looking on in the Arizona dugout.
Good way to start his day.
And there's the first Arizona base runner. Young walks with 2 outs. And Miguel Montero, the catcher, hits. Young has good speed, and he has a good lead at first. And he got a gigantic jump. 18th steal for Young.
He got a 1.5 step head start on Brian McCann, who actually made it a pretty close play. Yeah, a whole stride before Tim broke to the plate.
So not much chance for Bryant on that sequence. And Montero down a strike, has a runner in scoring position here in the first. So a nice round number for Young.
Montero's been in a bit of an offensive slump too. 5 for his last 26, but I've done some more reading on him today. The fact that he's #1 in the National League in throwing out base stealers, something we were complimenting him on the first 2 games of this series, but overall 35% throwing out base stealers, tops in the National League.
I wouldn't have guessed that. Would you?
I'd have had a Molina in there somewhere.
Yeah, right.
But and if David Ross had enough games to qualify, he might be up there in the top 2 or 3. But yeah, this guy made the All-Star team, and you'll be hearing more about him as postseason approaches.
That's beaten off the plate. Funny spin. Ugla glove flip and got the catcher by a half step. Arizona has 6 hits with a runner in scoring position on this road trip. Their bid for a 7th was thwarted by Dan Ugla in the first. Arizona in the top of the first. Now Freddie Gonzalez presents this Suzuki starting lineup. Scheduled day off for Chipper Jones. Martin Prado will bat second and play third for the Braves. Let's see if the bats can continue to boom as they have all homestand long.
Right-hander Josh Colementer on the mound for the Diamondbacks today, making his 18th start of the year, 25th appearance. Initially came up and pitched out of the bullpen, but made his way into the rotation. 7-7 on the year. Looking for his first road win since his first start of the year against the Dodgers, so we'll see how that goes.
Michael Bourne will lead things off. And he jumps on the first pitch. But Young in left center tracks it down for the first out.
4 keys to success for Mr. Colementer today, who's out of Homer, Michigan. Road woes. He is scuffling. Tom's right. He won his first game against LA. He's 0-4 since. And adjust to adjustments. He got off to a pretty good start. He's got a very, I'll call it a little bit awkward looking delivery, and he's got a good changeup off of it, and it really threw the hitters off early on. But now they've adjusted to it. He's struggling some. He's given up 18 runs in his last 25 innings, so now he's going to have to make some adjustments.
Yeah, let's just say that's not a delivery you would necessarily teach your child.
A quick strike to Martin Prado. Day of rest did him some good, didn't it, fellas? Big night for Prado last night.
Yeah. Took the night off on Friday and came back last night well rested with a vengeance.
3 hits. Mack had the night off last night. He gets to test it today. I like what Freddie Gonzalez has done for his regulars, finding him a day off here and there. And I don't know if he could drag Dan Uggla out of the lineup, but he might need a day off soon.
Popped foul and out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Josh Colementer has been quite a find for the Diamondbacks. And quite a fight at third base. Diving catch. Retires Prado for the second out.
That's the 3rd time he's done that in the last 2 games. Took one away from Chipper last night, and now Sean Burroughs with a quick reaction takes one away from Prado. And talking about the struggles of Colementer after a good start, his first 12 starts, 2.92 ERA, almost triple that in his last 5, and a high batting average, and 2 rockets hit off of him already today.
And with his unique delivery, Tom, is this the book in the league starting to catch up to Josh Colementer?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, I think when you're initially when you see a guy like this and he is so unorthodox, yeah, I mean the deception in the delivery can go a long way, but after a while, second time through, that deception goes away. So then you start to focus less on the delivery and where you're picking the ball up and more on the stuff and what you're looking for. And if he's, you know, he might get away with some mistakes due to the deception in his delivery, but he won't the second time around.
Broken bat pop out to short, and Colementer continues his excellent first inning work this year for Arizona. No score. We head to the second inning. Brought to you in part by Fox Sports South is brought to you in part by Academy Sports and Outdoors, by AT&T, by Delta Airlines, and by Ford. We head to the second inning, no score. Tim Hudson back to work with his perfect career mark against the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Boy, nothing says hot and humid like a good bag of cotton candy.
And I think our camera person asked that youngster, hey, you going to share? That kid said, no chance.
No chance.
As Paul Goldschmidt fouls one away for a quick strike.
Just got called up August 1st and already 4 homers.
He's the first out of the second inning.
A lot of guys like that, they may not be real high draft picks because scouts have a hard time trying to project whether or not their strength and power with an aluminum bat, even in college, is going to translate into professional baseball because they'll get pitched differently and the level of pitching is so good. But this guy, I'm really happy when a big power guy like that, makes it through, gets to the big leagues, and shows he can do it at this level too with a wood bat. So good for him.
And he plays in a great park to help.
Oh, yeah.
That power. Here's Sean Burroughs. He's hitting .241.
You're just normally not going to see a big guy like that drafted in the first or second round. They're going to be going mostly for athletes and pitchers where their athletic ability is very visible and projectable.
And you're right, Paul was an 8th round pick.
It's funny, I had that conversation with Paul Snyder, Braves super scout, at Bobby's luncheon, and he was talking about this year how they've made that change in college to the new bat that they're using, so there's not as much jump, and for the first time they're starting to get a little bit better gauge of what guys are capable of doing, and it's not as much guesswork as it used to be because of what you're talking about, where it's just so hard to figure what a guy's going to do when he gets a wooden bat in his hand.
Yeah, that was a big improvement.
1-1 count to Burroughs. And Tim blisters the inside corner.
After being out of baseball for 4 years and going through some real life-changing events for Sean, basically being homeless and on the streets, I mean, for him to come back and do what he's doing and get himself back on track, you can't help but pull for him.
Think a National League version of Josh Hamilton when you think of Sean Burroughs. I mean, this is a kid that won the Little League World Series twice, was a #1 pick, won a gold medal, was in the big leagues at 21, and then at the age of 29 was, as Joe mentioned, wandering the streets of Las Vegas. His life a shambles. But here he is back in the big leagues, and his general manager in Arizona was the general manager for him in San Diego, Kevin Towers, who believed in this kid and gave him another opportunity to get back into professional baseball.
Well, that's the biggest thing is after all that, and a credit to him for turning things around, a credit to his family for all the help they gave him. But that's usually the case. You need somebody somewhere who believes in you. Unfortunately for him, he had the past relationship with Kevin Towers, and he gave him a shot, and he's made the most of it.
Ground ball to first. Freeman takes care of Burroughs. Tim getting lots of early ground ball outs. Love to see that. And 2 are retired. Fans, get your tickets now. The Sticks post-game concert presented by Delta Airlines and Coca-Cola, Saturday, September 17th. The Mets will be in town. For game tickets or field passes, visit Braves.com/Sticks or call 800-745-3000.
Good day for that. What's that called here at the ballpark? Is that a slushy? Slush? Icy?
They have so many
Snow
different
cones?
names now. Yes, they have so many different names nowadays.
You
But
get
essentially flavored ice.
Get one to that kid with the cotton candy.
Yeah, get a little more sugar in them.
And a leash. Colin Cowgill rolls back to the mound. Easy inning for Hudson. 3 up, 3 down. Let's see if the Braves can get him a second inning run and an early lead at home. Because Dan Uggla's leading off the second, and he is in range. And college football season's right around the corner, premiering Thursday, September 1st. It's the new College Football Show with Sammy Linebaugh, James Bates, and Tommy Bowden. They'll be breaking down the SEC, ACC, and Conference USA, premiering Thursday, September 1st, right here on Sports South. Tommy, did Joe break out the dancing Bobcat reference after Uggla's home runs last night?
I don't believe that he did. No, he was calm, cool, and collected.
No dancing Bobcat, huh? For Dan?
No, it's actually kind of. I just like this slow, steady climb the team's doing right now, and everybody's kind of chipping in, doing their part. No, we were bragging on those guys, though, since the All-Star break, and Dan's 14 homers, the most in baseball. 31 RBIs. That's, I think, third in RBIs.
I mean, to put 60 points on your batting average in roughly a month and a half is almost unheard of. That's how hot he's been. And he hooks one into left.
He went deep twice last night, once in the first inning off Wade Miley. First one Miley had ever given up. Gave the Braves the lead, a lead they did not relinquish. And then he added to it with another home run leading off the seventh. A low line shot to center. He's got 29 now.
And lately starting to hit lefties, which in the first half of the year was a big problem for Dan. So he has the first hit of the game and stands at first for Freddie Freeman.
Here's something for you, though, guys, on that hitting since the All-Star break. And you know about Dan's 33-game hitting streak, so you know he's going to accumulate a lot of hits. And since the All-Star break, that hit was number 47 right there. Okay? More to follow. So you're saying 47 hits, that's got to be the most among anybody on the ball club since the break, given that 33-game hitting streak. It's not. Michael Bourne has 49 hits since the All-Star break.
Hey, you get fooled because you have to remember Michael was with Houston and came to the Braves at the deadline. But how nice is it, like you guys were talking in the open? You have Bourne hot, you have Ugla hot, you have Costanza all roasting hot with the batting average since the break.
Well, they've got options now, which is, you know, a beautiful thing. They're not, and that's what makes it so hard for an opposing pitcher. There's not one or two guys that you can either attack or pitch around. You got to pick your poison. You have to pitch to somebody right now.
There's another one of those hit or be hit pitches to Freddie.
And a great catch by a fan in the front row over the Braves dugout. A one-hop rocket that he speared.
We've got a good fielding crowd this weekend.
Chip, I don't know if you saw the guy last night, though. This is the catch of the year in my book.
Wow.
And look at his buddy. Watch his buddy. He's like, where'd that go? Dude, you caught it. No way.
That was the most amazing fan catch I think I've ever seen.
Rolled to the right side. Goldschmidt, a good stab. And the return throw to first, not in time. Arizona gets the leading runner, Dan Ugla, for the first out. And Jason Hayward will bat with Freeman at first.
The other thing about all those guys being hot at the same time, to me, Chip, is it backs up Freddie wanting to give some guys some days off. You can do that without missing a beat in the lineup, and you don't have to say to Chipper, I'd really like to give you a day off, but we just can't afford it. You're hot right now, and you're the only guy swinging the bat. That's not the case.
And there's another advantage to where the Braves are now as well, and that is you have an 8-game lead in the wild card. This club still has not given up their belief that they can catch the Phillies. They play the Phillies 6 more times this year. But you have an 8-game lead in late August. Probably can rest some more guys. Two 2-0 to Jason.
And a season high 23 games over 500. That again has just been a steady climb.
There's that good changeup that we talked about. Good hitters count right there. Jason looking fastball and got the 78-mile-an-hour changeup.
Very deceptive.
Swing and a miss. Montero's throw, short hopped, caught, and the tag applied for the second out.
Montero was applauding Bloomquist on that one. Willie bailed him out. Look at that again. I thought Bloomquist's glove was coming up when Freddie got in there. Well, on the foot.
And that'll retire the side in the Atlanta second. Jason Hayward down on strikes and still no score. Afternoon at Turner Field for the series and homestand wrap-up. Here are the standings in the National League wild card. As I mentioned, an 8-game lead all of a sudden over the Giants and 8.5 over the Cardinals.
St. Louis really having a hard time of it right now.
And that wild card graphic leads us to our AT&T Universe TV trivia question. Name the two NL teams that have won the wild card in back-to-back years since 1995.
Is that National League?
Yes.
Maybe the Mets?
It's a good call.
Gerardo Parra takes a strike, tried to bunt, and the count even to him, 1-1.
I'm proud of you, Chip.
What, Parra's not hard to say.
No. I can't even go on the first name anymore. I'm going to start calling him Harry. Harry Parra.
Call him the G-Man. And it's pulled foul at first. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That's a tough trivia question. Now, every time the Marlins have got to the World Series, they've been the wild card. They've won it, but I don't think they did it in back-to-back years as far as reaching the playoffs.
I like the Mets. That's a good call. 2000 and
Mets or Colorado?
Colorado, I was thinking too.
Colorado might have done it because they had to play that playoff game against the Padres one year.
Up the middle. And off the end of Alex's glove as he came to a sliding stop. Big turn by Parra. And Bourne's return throw almost knocked Alex down again. Leadoff hit.
Looked like when it ramped up off the mound, maybe Alex would have a shot at it. And then with the big turn, Bourne got it in quickly and almost knocked Alex's feet out from under him.
Now Colementor. Picked up his first big league hit when he faced the Braves. That was an infield single against Jair Jurgens back in the desert. He's batting 160 overall. Like his manager, Cole Mentor, as you fellas mentioned, is from Michigan. And looks a little like Kirk Gibson.
He looks like somebody he looks very familiar to that I've seen or played against. I can't place it, but he does a little bit Kirk Gibson too.
I imagine Kirk Gibson with a little 2-day stubble. Come on, Josh, turn around.
Got that helmet pulled down over his ears like Kirk used to do. Yeah, I see that.
Cole Mentor cannot advance Para. He's down on strikes.
Might have noticed that the Braves are wearing a new patch on their uniforms beginning today. And it's a beauty. Honoring longtime Braves broadcaster Ernie Johnson, who passed away last weekend. Got the glove symbolizing his days as a pitcher for the Braves. And the microphone, of course. And they'll wear that patch for the rest of the year.
Kelly Johnson bats for the second time. And takes a ball. 1 ball, no strikes.
Kelly Johnson's too good a hitter to strike out as much as he does and to be hitting in the low 200s. I know he's got power, and at times he's unwilling to sacrifice that for more contact. But you'd think that when, especially with his speed, when he gets behind in the count, he would shorten up a little more.
Line to the shortstop, and that'll be a double play. Hit and run was on. And Johnson hit it right where Alex Gonzalez was. Braves will take that. It's double play, and it sends the game to the home half of the third inning scoreless. Joe Simpson, Tom Glavine, Chip Carey, and our great Fox Sports crew from Turner Field. Another big crowd today. Always great to see the park buzzing and full of fans from Braves country. Got a tough hombre on the mound facing the Braves today, and Josh Colmenter. He and Tim Hudson have each allowed only one hit so far today.
Tom, I would guess that when you come that far up over the top, it's going to be hard to generate any movement on a fastball.
It'll be hard. Yeah, I think he's pretty much a straight four-seam.
Alex Gonzalez drives one deep to left and gone. The man from Homer, Michigan, gives up his first today.
Way too much rest.
I got you a changeup that
like he was sitting on it too.
Leaked over the plate.
Now Jose Constanza flies to left. One out.
But yeah, to your point, Joe, it's from that arm angle, it's going to be tough for him to throw a breaking ball of any kind, which the scouting report on him is he doesn't throw very many at all. So yeah, he's going to be predominantly a fastball and changeup guy, and predominantly a four-seam fastball guy. So he's pitching on that four-seam rider, not much movement, mostly location, and you know, if his location is off, he's going to be in trouble.
Hoping for some downward plane on the pitch that makes it hard to get on top of the pitch too.
Tim Hudson pops one up. Goldschmidt at first will give way to Kelly Johnson at second.
And you can see why, you know, again, he's predominantly fastball changeup. And you see his side-by-side comparisons, his fastball and his changeup. They look identical, and which is exactly what you want, obviously, from a pitching standpoint. You want your delivery the same, you want your tempo the same, you want your arm speed to be the same. And for him, on those two pitches, it is. But again, from that, over the top of your head like that, boy, it's hard to generate any kind of spin, whether it be a sinker or a breaking ball.
Pretty amazing, though, that with two pitches, this guy's been as successful as a starting pitcher as opposed to the bullpen where he began the year.
But you know what? There were some of us, after we saw him in May, and I won't say which player it was, but I agreed with him that by the time we see these guys in August, he won't even be on the team. So it is a tribute to him that he's still here, and he's 7-7 with a pretty good ERA. But what concerned us, or what we thought was kind of a gimmick, that the hitters would catch on to it, and it looks like, at least in recent numbers, that they are beginning to adjust to him.
Well, if he can locate his fastball and he has a good changeup to go with it, he's got a chance.
Michael swung at a ball out of the zone that time, and that retires the side. But not before Alex Gonzalez hit his 11th homer. A leadoff shot in the third, and the Braves enjoy a 1-0 lead behind Tim Hudson. claws.
Well, maybe they meant defang, perhaps.
The point's a good one, though.
Yes. Yeah. And so's the score. The Braves lead 1-0. As we head to the fourth inning. Bloomquist, Young, and Montero coming up. Imagine you guys talked about this the first couple of games. It's hard to imagine that the Arizona Diamondbacks, located in downtown Phoenix, have only had one player in the history of their franchise come from Arizona State University, and you're looking at him.
Matter of fact, we didn't talk about that, did we?
I'm surprised.
He's the first one. Tempe's right down the street from the Bank One ballpark.
Yeah, you would think even you take the Braves, for example, for as much success as they've had in their own backyard, that there'd be a plethora of players to choose from out there in Arizona.
I don't know what a plethora is, but it sounds like a lot.
That was my word for the day. Chip's already gone thwarted. Now you're dropping plethora on us. And we're only in the fourth.
Off the tip of Tim's glove, Alex bailed him out. Good play.
Tim got that one up a little bit, but it ran in on Bloomquist's hands. And Alex bails out a lot of people.
Yeah, it's one as a pitcher, when it tips off your glove, you're saying, oh man, why did I touch that? Should have just let it go. But Gonzo picked him up.
So that is a 1-6-3 put out. And here's Chris Young. Young walked, stole his 100th base back in the first inning, but was stranded when Montero grounded out to second.
100th career.
Yes.
Speaking of squaring up and fielding your position, though, and as Tim did there, he's going to help us out today with Sunday school at the seventh inning stretch and talk about some basics for young pitchers, some mechanical basics that any young pitcher would want to listen to. And he was so good. I mean, we just kept the cameras rolling. We've got some real good tape on it. And next Thursday from Chicago, we've got a 2:20 start Eastern time, and we're going to run the whole thing in that pregame show. So be ready for that.
Young wasn't ready for that pitch. He struck out over the outside corner. And that's Tim's third strikeout in today's game. Attention parents, Braves Family Field Day presented by Publix Supermarkets is coming up Saturday, September 3rd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. here at Turner Field. Get batting, fielding, and pitching tips from the Braves players, plus lunch and a behind-the-scenes tour of Turner Field. Visit Braves.com/Field Day or dial 404-494-1020 and reserve a spot today.
Yes, it is, young man. One of the interesting things that I think fans will like seeing on Thursday from Tim was he was talking about a little more detail about pitching versus today when he's talking about some fundamentals, but he's talking about pitch grips and how he has twisted the ball a little bit in his hand to find a good grip for his sinker and change up. Very interesting.
Alex climbs the ladder and takes care of Montero's soft line drive. The Braves still lead it by a run. It's touched the plate so far today. His leadoff homer in the third has given the Braves a 1-0 lead over Arizona. Be nice to sweep these guys right out of town and wrap up a 7-3 homestand. So let's get some more here with Martin Prado, Brian McCann, and Dan Ugla coming up.
Guy's got a pretty good walk to 9-inning pitched ratio. In fact, it's the best among rookie pitchers at 1.84 walks per 9 innings.
Yeah. Attaboy.
Jinx it.
Whammy on him.
There's the start. Here's McCann. Brian popped out to short his first time up.
One of the things that Freddie Gonzalez has talked about all summer long is trying to help Brian McCann be strong for the stretch run. And he worked hard in the offseason for that reason, too. And this time last year, almost exactly the same at bats, despite the fact that he's played fewer games this year. A better average, more homers, 5 fewer RBIs. But the point is, you look at August and September of last year, and he hit well in August. He hit 300, 5 homers, 17 RBIs. But in September, he really tailed off. Only 226 in September and only 7 RBIs that month. And in virtually exactly the same number of at-bats from August to September. So I think what they've done and what Brian's done to prepare for the dog days in the last 6 weeks, I think it'll really pay dividends for him.
to your point on that graphic, I think part of the reason why the at-bats are still the same is because they've played so many extra inning games, so he's picked up some at-bats in some of those. But I agree with you 100%. I think that the beauty of what they have right now on this roster is it gives them so much flexibility, and you can give guys rest, which is only going to pay off come September and into October.
There's a good pitch.
Sorry, Chip. I know there's so many times it seemed like we talked earlier in the year where, boy, you'd love to give Brian a day off, but Chipper was hurt, and Brian was swinging the bat so well, so they couldn't have them both out of the lineup on the same day, and vice versa. And they don't have that problem now, and especially in Brian's case where your backup catcher is so productive, you can afford to do that a little bit more often.
Here's an odd quirk about the lineup is that, to me, and it's a luxury, is that you don't have to substitute position for position like in the case today. Chipper comes out, Prado comes in from left field to play third base, so that allows you those three guys in the outfield that are out there today. It's a nice rotation from third to the four outfielders, including Prado.
Goldschmidt will fire to second for one, and an easy return for the 3-6-3 double play.
And you take it a step further, even if we talked about Uggla, if they wanted to give Uggla a day off, you can punch Prado in over there if you wanted, or Julio Lugo, whoever you want. So, but Uggla, like we've talked about, really the only guy that hasn't gotten any rest lately. But boy, he's so hot, it's hard to take him out of there.
Dan had the first base hit of the game, a single to left on a 3-2 count.
And I would imagine as we get into September, I would think you'd start to see him try and give Freddie Freeman a few more days off as well, because, Freddie, this is his first go-round here. He's used to his season ending in about another 5 or 6 to 10 days in the minor league, so this is uncharted water for him.
And with a big lead in the playoff race, whether it's the division or the wild card, that gives even more opportunity for Freddie to do that.
Well, they just signed a guy and sent him to AAA that maybe by the 1st of September gives you a right-handed bat option at first base if you want to, and that's Wes Helms. That if you want to give Freddie a day off against a tough lefty, that might be an option.
Popped up. Montero, as far as he can go, and out of play. Let's check out our quote of the day, brought to you by Geico. On the recent good run of the Braves, Dan Uggla said this: "It's the run we've been looking for. The offense is rolling. We're getting good starts out of our pitchers. The whole team is doing what we need to be doing in order to win games, but we've got to keep going in this direction." As Joe said, they are trending upward. And Clementer strikes out Uggla, the third man he's whiffed in the game, and that sends this one to inning number 5 with the Braves still in front 1-0. On Fox Sports South, it's brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Good pitching matchup. Only 3 hits combined through 4 innings. Tim Hudson 5-0 lifetime against the Diamondbacks. Josh Colmenter, who beat the Braves earlier this year, has given up a home run to Alex Gonzalez. And that is it.
Made a couple of nice plays at first base today. Got the 3-6-3 double play and tried to get another one started.
Off the end of the bat. Join us for our first ever Tweet Up at Turner Field Thursday, September 1st. You'll hear from some special Braves guests in an exclusive Q&A session. Plus, all Tweet Up packs include an outfield ticket and at Braves Tweet Up t-shirt and 2 drink tickets. Visit Braves.com/tweetup today. A promo fraught with danger. Here's Burrows.
You weren't with us last night talking about Burrows when they signed him and sent him to Reno, their AAA affiliate. He had 1 call up, hit about 250. They sent him back down. But all told, while he's been in Reno, a .412 average in 102 at bats. He had 42 hits. He's never had a lot of power, but at every level he's always been able to put the ball in play and hit for a good average.
Because he can do that. An opposite field single for Burrows, who has some Atlanta history. He was born here when his dad Jeff played with the Braves.
He's not that fast, but he's probably twice as fast as his dad, would be my guess. And I hope he's listening.
That might be a conservative estimate.
Mm-hmm. I had to play center field between his dad and Richie Zisk at one point in Seattle. And after about 2 weeks, I was down to about 108 pounds.
Here's Colin Cowgill, former star at the University of Kentucky. He was Mr. Baseball there as a high schooler. So you know his friends and family are watching in the Bluegrass State, part of Braves country today. No balls and a strike. Keep an eye on the scoreboard for you today. The Phillies and Nationals are playing again this afternoon. Chin-Ming Wong for the Nats, Roy Halladay for the Phillies. Washington had jumped in front with 2 in the first, but now the Phillies lead 3-2. That game's at Nationals Park and in the 3rd inning. Eric Young's the Arizona first base coach. He was a terrific base stealer in his days in the big leagues with the Rockies, later with the Cubs and others.
Good pitch. Was that a cutter?
I think that's more a slider.
Because it looked almost like a natural slider. You know, it almost
Right.
looked like it came out of his hand like a fastball and just kind of had a natural slide to it. It was so nice.
I think he's got that one right there, one that's a little bit smaller into the left-handed hitters, and then the one that's a little bit bigger that he breaks off the plate for his strikeout pitch.
Is there a separate sign for each one of those 3 pitches, or does Brian just call it and react to it?
No, I think Brian knows. You know, I mean, I think where it's all the same pitch, that the size of the break doesn't matter as much. Maybe with a runner on third, you might want to be a little bit more aware of it, but I'm sure that's something that they've talked about, that, hey, if you throw down a slider, are you okay if I throw the big one, the medium one, or the cutter, and just react to it? And, you know, that's up to the catcher. I know for me, later in my career, when I started throwing a changeup into right-handed hitters and even left-handers, a lot of times I would just tell the catcher, look, I don't want to stand out there and shake and get to it. So if you call a fastball in and I throw a changeup, are you okay with that? And they were like, yeah, that's fine. No, you know, we'll just react to it, no problem. But some catchers want to know a little bit something, or maybe they want to know, like I said, if there's a runner on third base or something like that. But generally speaking, that's something usually they're on the same page with.
3-2. Burrows runs. Strike 3. Throw short hop. Tag applied. Safe. Ball dropped. Burrows gets the stolen base. Cowgill strikes out, and a runner at second. 2 down for Parra.
This is almost a great play by Dan Ugla. Very difficult hop to try to catch and then bring your glove down fast enough to make the tag.
Oh, why you got a guy bearing down on you and kicking you in the glove when you're trying to hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
So the first steal of the year for Burrows, the 20th of his major league career. And now Parra bats already with a hit in the game. The Braves will not allow him to do any damage. They'll go after the pitcher Colementor, who's 1 pitch away from standing in. First and second, 2 outs. Braves baseball on Fox Sports South, brought to you by Miller High Life. This summer, find out how giving back bottle caps can give returning vets a piece of the high life. Go to MillerHighLife.com for details. Colementor tried to bunt his last time up and struck out.
Another fascinating thing about Tim Hudson and his ability is that he told us yesterday that he didn't start pitching till he was a junior in high school.
What does that tell you?
That tells me a lot. It should tell some dads and coaches a lot too.
Absolutely.
Tim's an astounding 83 games over 500 for his career. If he wins this one, it'll be his 178th lifetime. And he just struck out Colementor looking. And the Diamondbacks' struggles with runners in scoring position continue in Atlanta today. 1-0, Braves in front. We're celebrating the biggest college football season in the history of Fox Sports South and Sports South. We're kicking it off with 3 nights of SEC Classics. It's the SEC Football Greatest Games Weekend, and it all starts Saturday at 5. Head online to foxsportssouth.com for a complete schedule.
Well, the way the Braves are playing right now, it won't be his last. Ballpark's filling up with people enjoying this, really what is a new look team with the speed implemented at both ends of the lineup, and the way the guys are swinging the bat, it's just fun to watch.
Braves are 12-6 in August. They've won 12 of their last 16 games and 3 in a row overall. And beating an Arizona club that has led the National League West for quite some time. They've beaten them handily the first 2 games.
I wish some of the guys would go up there and take Alex's approach with them. Looking for that changeup early in the count.
A drive to center, and that'll drop in front of Young. Freddie was 2 for 2 against Cole Mentor out in the desert. He's 1 for 2 against him today, and a good start.
That will work. But it seems like he's trying to throw that a lot in the first pitch for a strike.
Jason takes his second turn today.
Here's something that's hard for Jason right now, and that is that with all the offense that's going on and all the celebrations that are taking place, he really wants to be in the middle of it. He's a great teammate, very supportive of everyone else. But as a young player in his sophomore year, and with the year he's having, you just hope he's not trying too hard to be part of the offense.
Well, you know, I think for a lot of guys, you're right. He sees everything going on. He wants to be a part of it. He's missing out on it a little bit to a certain extent. But, yeah, I think the mistake a lot of guys make, as you know, is you try to make up for your whole season in a short period of time. And you can't take that approach. You just got to take it kind of slow and steady and hope that you peak at the right time and turn things around.
Look at Dan.
Exactly. Dan Uga is a perfect example. Now, he's not going to go on that kind of streak most likely, but if he can just make little baby steps here and there, and then all of a sudden we get to mid-September going into the postseason, he's hot. Look, that's all people are going to remember. They remember how you finished, not how you started. And it's almost a blessing in disguise to a certain extent that everything's going on around him so well, because it's taken pressure off the fact that he has struggled, and you don't really hear people talk about it. They talk about how good this team is doing.
And that wasn't the advantage that Dan Uga had in the first half of the year, because so many others around him were struggling too.
And his contract.
Sure.
Coming to a new team. People wanting to see Dan's numbers like they were used to seeing in Florida.
Jason Cal on strikes for the second time. And that's the 4th for Cole Mentor today.
Sherwin-Williams painting the corners. Fastball about belt high. And just basically swung right through it. It's like he had a hole in his bat to miss that one.
It'll be interesting to see how Freddie aligns his lineup. Counting today's game, the Braves have 5 straight right-handed pitchers facing them. So we'll see how much playing time Jason gets. Starting with the Cubs series tomorrow night at Wrigley Field.
Time for our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. The only run of the ball game came off this man's bat in the 3rd inning. Waited on a changeup and laced it into the left field seats. His 11th homer of the year.
what was good about that, or great about that approach on Alex, he waited on the changeup and he got it, and he still took a nice, easy swing at it and let the bat do the work. A lot of times, particularly on off-speed pitches, when guys guess right, so giddy that they guess right and they try to crush the ball and they pull off it and either hit a ground ball or a pop-up.
Burrows at third. He'll fire to second. Kelly Johnson's throw pulls Goldschmidt off the bag.
That was another nice piece of glove work by Burrows, but I think his quick kind of submarine throw threw Kelly's timing off and pulled him off the bag and then messed up his footwork. Kelly threw off the wrong foot.
Yeah, it looked like he had an extra half a step trying to get it out of his glove and then try to throw off the wrong foot.
Here's Constanza. Jose flied to left his first time up. This guy has done an incredible job. Hitting .370 at the moment. Has scored 17 runs in his first 21 games. He's batted ninth. He's batted eighth. He's batted first. He's batted second. And he's produced in every one of those spots.
And he's willing to take pitches. Work the count, even 2-0 there. That typically is when those hitters unbutton their shirt, let it go. Not him. He's going to make you throw him another strike. He's not worried about taking strikes.
And I gotta imagine it's got to be a fun time for Freddie too, coming to the ballpark now with the guys in the middle of that lineup doing what they're doing, and then you've got Costanza and Michael Bourne. He's got to come to the park every day. He's just kind of thinking, all right, what can I do today?
Yeah.
You know, what kind of fun can we have with today's lineup?
Again to left. But that will retire the side as the Braves held off the board in the fifth inning. 1-0. Good duel between Hudson and Colementor. The Arizona right-handers made the only pitching mistake, if you will, of the day. That the home run ball he allowed to Alex Gonzalez.
Got a lot of A's on there again. That's good.
Tim Hudson got off to a good start. He's just been steady all day. His lineup without Upton today, trying to give him a rest. And the funny part is, I mean, it's not like he's tearing it up, but he's the guy that's the most dangerous guy in their lineup, and you give him a day off, and hello.
So you starters notice that kind of stuff, huh?
Oh, look, let me tell you something. I guarantee you, Huddy went home last night thinking about that lineup with Upton in there, and when he got to the ballpark today and realized he wasn't, he was like, oh, okay. But a lot of times that works against you because then you have that little bit of, okay, I don't have the big guy to worry about. You let your guard down a little bit, and then the other guys take over.
That's what happened in his last start. Gave up a home run to Fontenot. Gave up a home run to Shearholtz. And the team rallied to take him off the hook, and he got a no decision. But those weren't two guys that he went to bed the night before worrying about.
Right.
Kelly Johnson rips one into the right field corner, and a long run for Hayward. Kelly's going to have at least a double. He's going to make the turn at second. Jason overshoots Dan Uggla, and Johnson slides in safely with a leadoff triple.
I had Chan do the math. We were talking about Kelly's strikeouts. When Kelly makes contact coming into play today, he's hitting 306. He's got pop. Okay, good. But you put the ball in play more, and his average is going to be a whole lot better. And Jason overthrowing the first relay man took away any chance at all of getting Johnson at third.
Well, that was one area, Joe, where they really wanted to improve on this Diamondback club, making more consistent contact. This was a team that struck out over 1,500 times collectively last year, almost 10 times a game. That's 3 innings of no contact every day.
Chris Young, Kelly Johnson, and Mark Reynolds, who was on this team and led the league in strikeouts, I think, 2 years in a row. Those 3 guys alone accounted for a lot of it.
You can strike out like Ryan Howard does as long as your production numbers are there. But if you're not hitting home runs and driving runs in, then those strikeout numbers become a big problem.
Infield in for the Braves with Bloomquist up. He's knocked in 21 runs. Alex looks Johnson back. 1 out.
He could have scored on that if somebody had told him that Hudson wasn't going to field it. But from his angle, Kelly couldn't tell that.
Well, he might have had a chance too if it was the going on contact. Or he had Alex going to his left. That'd be a tough throw to turn around and make to the plate. But when you're waiting to see if the ball gets through, no chance.
So Young becomes the key man in the inning. He has walked and he has taken a called third strike. Young 1 hit in his last 26 at bats. Infield still in for him. And ball 1.
If you're the Diamondbacks, if you're in their dugout, man, you got to get that run in. If for no other reason than to give you a little bit of confidence going into the rest of the game. You fail to get a guy in from third with nobody out. Puts a huge weight on your shoulders that, man, what's it going to take?
That's why I wonder if they'll be a little bit more aggressive here and go on contact and not rely on a 2-out base hit with their runners in scoring position numbers being what they are, and factoring in that after 6 innings you're starting to get into the heart of the Braves bullpen, and you can't like your chances of scoring there.
Two strikes. Again on this trip, Arizona has 6 hits with a runner in scoring position. That's it. They're hitting 160 as a club.
What do you like here, Tom?
Well, you know, with that fastball that he just threw him away right there and he fouled off, I like him either putting him away right here on a slider, might take a chance on throwing one inside to push him off the plate and then go out there. But I say just go right to the slider in the dirt right now, but he's not going to.
They're coming in. It's a little pop behind first. Foul ground. Freddie over the back. Johnson's tagging. Throw off target. Target pie. In time. They double him up to end the inning.
Kelly Johnson knows a lot about this Atlanta ball club, knows a lot about his old teammates. He doesn't know that Freddie Freeman has one of the best arms on the team.
The Braves keep. And Tim Hudson and the Braves still lead 1-0. Hero today. He's got his Braves shirt on under the camouflage fatigues. Welcome home, sir. And how about this great play to end the Arizona 6th?
First of all, it was a great catch.
Great catch.
Good play on the other end, too. Mack diving back. And as you said, Tom, they're going to be more aggressive. That's what you do when you're not scoring.
Yeah, when you're not scoring, you got to try and pull every rabbit out of the hat that you can. But like you said, Freddie Freeman with a stronger than most first baseman's arms over there made a good play.
Tim was fired up. He was just glad that there wasn't a sacrifice fly to the first baseman on that play.
So now Colemanter has to go to work. And Hudson down 2 strikes.
With respect to your athletes that are on the mound and at the plate, Tim Hudson 6 for his last 20 since the All-Star break.
Well, you know, he sees the way Douglas turned things around and he wants to get in on it.
Didn't realize that he was using Dan as inspiration. But
you never know where your inspiration is going to come from. You have to be open-minded enough to just look around and just accept where it comes from.
balls, 2 strikes. Kirk Gibson said with all the work turned in by the Arizona bullpen that he needed his starter to go deep into this game. And Paul Mentor's doing that. This is his 6th frame this afternoon.
He went 6 2/3 at Philadelphia in his last start. Gave up 2 runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. Got no decision, but that was the only game they won. Rallying in the 9th to win 3-2.
And he just walked Tim Hudson.
And since it's the Coors Light 6th inning, it's also time for the Coors Light Freeze Cam. And Alex Gonzalez timing his jump perfectly to haul this one in. Terrific leap. That was the Coors Light Freeze Cam, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
Bad things often happen when you walk the opponent's pitcher. And the Braves hoping good things will happen with Michael Bourne in the box. And he's down a strike.
Tim Hudson has worked 7 or more innings in each of his last 8 starts. He's gone 6 today, but all of a sudden on a hot, muggy day, he's the leadoff base runner. Hopefully it doesn't take too much out of him.
Driven toward right. And a diving catch in right. Parra makes the play, and it was a good one.
Tell you what, that's a good little player out there. I like him.
I was just going to say the same thing. He's made some nice plays, and we've seen a lot of nice offensive plays in this series. Or I should say outfield plays in this series.
Martinez lined out, and he's walked today.
It's in that danger zone too, that fastball gray area of about 88, and it was letter high to Martin, and that's tomahawking area for him.
Two balls and a strike. Paul Mentor has had 1 run and 11 innings against them this year. This guy also had a couple of starts against Milwaukee. One start against Milwaukee, a good club. They didn't do much with him either. I mean, he's very tough against good teams. And that one kisses the chalk down the left field line by Prado. Tim Hudson will make his way to third base, and he'll stop there. It's a 1-out double. Braves in business, leading by a run with the heart of the order lurking.
Sean Burroughs signaled foul when that one hit. Then he looked in the dugout. I don't know if his heart was trying to tell his head something, but like it was right on the chalk.
Looked like a hit right on the chalk.
Oh, he's going fair there. I thought I was watching his glove.
Maybe he was trying to say foul, but
yeah, maybe
got turned around.
Arizona takes the bat out of Bryant's hands, and they'll load the bases for Dan Ugla on an intentional walk. And this is Cole Mentor's game. There is nobody up and throwing in the Arizona bullpen.
Braves have had a base runner in every inning except the first, but he really hasn't had any long innings.
Here's Dan Ugla. The base is loaded.
First at bat of the day for Atlanta with a runner in scoring position.
And Freddie Freeman, our Delta Airlines on deck batter, has also had good luck against Arizona pitching this year. Let's hopefully see them both. High fly to center. Parra's got a good arm. He calls off Young, makes the catch. Hudson will not tag. Throw back to second, close play, but all hands are safe with 2 out.
How about that? The right fielder came all the way over to get a fly ball in straightaway center and take it away from the center fielder because he's the guy with the gun. Anybody else running other than Tim Hudson, the Braves take a chance there.
Man, it's a shame they didn't take a chance because it's one of the few throws that he's made offline.
So now Freddie bats with the bases loaded, 2 outs. This situation has already come up once on this homestand, and it worked out very well against Brian Wilson, you might recall. That game-ending and game-winning hit was his first hit of the year with the bases full.
Remember who's in trouble. Remember you're late in the game. Might be getting a little tired out there. His command may not be as good as he'd like for it to be. Get a good pitch.
Two and two.
That was a beaut. Sherwin-Williams painting the corners.
What we talked about the other day. That's the one where you get him on speed and location on that swing. He was out in front of it and over the top of it.
High pop. Burrows can't find it. Bloomquist. And now in left, the catch made by Cowgill, and the Braves had a golden opportunity to add to their lead. And Cole Mentor pitches out of trouble. Freddie Freeman pops up, and we head to the 7th. 1-0. But Tim Hudson had to run the bases that entire bottom of the 6th inning. We'll keep a close eye on him as he tries to protect this 1-run lead. SEC fans, SEC Gridiron Live returns with Christina Acra, Tim Couch, Randy Cross, and introducing Kevin Carter. It's live and it's interactive, and it returns Wednesday, August 31st, only on Fox Sports South. Back at you on Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Joe Simpson, Tom Lavin. Joe Vencius, our producer today. And here's truly Chip Carey here at Turner Field. Braves trying to sweep away the Diamondbacks. It's been a beautifully pitched game. And Alex Gonzalez homer, the only scoring to this point. Tommy, take me into the mind of Tim Hudson. You load the bases, you don't score, you lead by 1, and he's been out there the whole time.
Well, you have the little bit of the disappointment and the letdown of having the bases loaded and not being able to score, but then you said the added concern of having to run the bases. So, and it wasn't like he had a chance to go in and sit down. He had to have right back out there. So I think it's, you try and take as much time as you can when the inning ends. Take your time getting out to the mound, try to catch your breath, kind of regroup a little bit, and then just realize you gotta work a little bit harder to get the ball down.
And he has the 4, 5, and 6 hitters due for the Diamondbacks. It starts with Montero, who's lined out and has grounded out.
Very manageable pitch count for Tim at only 83 pitches.
He had a stressful inning, his last inning out there on the mound, had to bear down, make some tough pitches. Then he's got to go out and run the bases. And now, again, protecting a 1-run lead with the heart of the order coming up. So it's a point in time where he's kind of physically been tested a little bit, and he's going to have to find something here this inning. But being that the pitchers work harder than everybody else on the team, I'm sure he's physically in a place where he can handle this.
Athlete. Just trying to help you out, trying to help you sell it.
Montero walks to start the 7th. Third Hudson walk in the game, and Goldschmidt is the batter. Back to the AT&T Universe trivia question. All right, the 2 National League teams that have won the wild card in back-to-back years since 1995, fellows, who are they?
I'm going to go with the Mets.
And?
Rockies.
Okay. I'm saying the Mets in 2000, 2001, and then Houston somewhere in the late 90s, because I know we had to play them twice as the wild card.
Oh.
Well, I had the numbers wrong, but.
Way to go.
I could have sworn we played Houston. Well, we played them in back-to-back years in the playoffs, and maybe they weren't wild card.
One of those games felt like 3 years.
Yeah, that one that Walt Weiss made that play at shortstop.
And the other one that I don't even really like to go there.
Yeah. In Houston. We'll just leave it at that. His bullpen is going to start working now. Visit to the mound gives Hudson a chance to collect himself. And he'll go after Paul Goldschmidt, who has hit the ball on the ground twice. Tim's gotten a couple of double play balls behind him today. He'd love a third in this spot. And a big rip. And launched foul.
Well, typically when you're a little bit tired, that's when you're, as a sinker ball pitcher, that's when your sinker takes over a little bit more and you tend to have a little bit more movement. So that might be the pitch that Huddy really relies on right here to try and get that ground ball double play and get through this inning and turn it over.
We've seen the replays of Goldschmidt's home runs that he hit off Lincecum, off Stoltz from Philadelphia, and it was a definite uppercut. He was dropping on that back leg and trying to lift. So maybe he can hit the top half of the ball on that swing and hit one on the ground.
Well, it plays into Huddy's style of pitching, no question. That's the exact area that he's going to be trying to avoid. He's going to be trying to attack down or below the strike zone, and so you would figure it would be a good matchup for Huddy.
Just got a piece to stay alive. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Just about. Giants had a lead earlier today, Chip. Astros have come back to tie them. Houston's won 4 in a row.
There's the swing and a miss. Tim has 6 strikeouts today.
That's similar to the one I asked you about earlier. He takes a little bit off of it so that it just kind of floats across there. It's never a strike. Never at any point is it a strike.
Yeah, that's the one where if you throw it a little slower, spin it a little bit more, it gives it a little bit more break, and it's a great pitch to follow up with on the slider that he threw the pitch before. It starts kind of in the same location. It looks the same as like it's going to be a strike to the hitter, but it just keeps on going, and you can't stay with it.
Martin Prado in a couple of steps on the grass at third. Remember, Burrows in his last at bat stroked a single between short and third base. So maybe a little defensive discussion in this position.
Yeah, if I'm Martin, I want to know how they're going to pitch him. Doesn't mean that they can just sit in one spot, but have a general idea. You want me to guard the line, or can I play off the line?
And he's well off it. Arizona as a club doesn't hit into a whole lot of double plays. They've bounced into 2 of them today. They're just 63 for the year. Burrows has hit into 3. And that pitch tied him up. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That shorter little cutter type slider right there.
You wouldn't expect Montero to be running, the catcher, given their difficulties in scoring runs. Kelly Johnson trying to score on that foul pop to first. They might try anything. And they might try a hit and run here with Burrow's ability to put the ball in play. Good count to do it on.
Tim Hudson's allowed Arizona only 3 hits today. He was given a 3rd inning lead and he hasn't let it go. It's a 1-0 game. Runner is going. The pitch is pulled well foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That might have been in self-defense for Burroughs.
That's because he was assigned that responsibility. That was a hit and run. Took it right off his kneecap in an effort just to protect his base runner, who was going to be a dead duck otherwise.
Yeah, a good pitch from Huddy. If they are sensing there might be a hit and run for exactly that reason. It's a tough pitch to do anything with, so he might take it and you throw the guy out. But if he does swing at it, that's about all he can do with it.
2-2.
I like the idea. Just couldn't get it in there on the Sherwin-Williams paint in the corners.
Yeah, it's a shame he didn't make that pitch because he set it up perfectly with that pitch before.
Montero the lead. He's going. And the ball driven into the seats, foul. Nice catch.
This is a situation for Huddy where if you're going to go in, you better make sure you don't miss your location, because with the runner, if he is in motion, that's the one pitch I think he's got a chance to make a mistake on, and Burroughs can hook it down in the line and the run can score. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him come back outside a little bit here with something.
Strike 3 called. The throw to second. Plenty of time. Strike him out, throw him out, double play. And you talk about making pitches, Tom Glavine. Tim Hudson did just that in the top half of this 7th. Of our Sunday School feature with Joe Simpson.
Time for another session of Sunday School, and today we're with Tim Hudson, and Tim's going to show us how to wind up and throw a pitch from the mound. Tim, what are some basics that any young pitcher should know?
Well, basically with your delivery, there's basically 5 steps to delivery. Once you get on the rubber, there's a step. There's your pivot whenever you're getting into the rubber. There's your balance, which is the most important part of your delivery. There's a power position, and then there's the finish. So there's those 5 basic steps. Like I said, the most important one is the balance, because that's when you're gathering yourself, getting everything on time. And then your power position is where you're getting all of your torque and all of your velocity, where your toe touches the ground, and all of your trunk rotation and your rotation comes through to deliver that powerful pitch. A good hard fastball or well-located off-speed pitch.
Is there one thing a young pitcher can do when you were talking about the balance when you gathered yourself at the top of your windup, more or less? Is there anything to concentrate on there?
Well, the one thing you want to do is you get here, you get into the rubber, you balance, and you want to stay over the rubber as long as you can. You know, you always hear a lot of young kids or coaches tell young kids, you know, drive off the rubber and get all your momentum going to the catcher. You know, that couldn't be further from the truth. You want to stay over the rubber as long as you can, let that front foot clear, and if you look at a lot of Major League pitchers, if you take a still picture of them at power position, their center line of their body is more towards the rubber than they are out here. A lot of young kids, you'll see them pitching, they're like this.
Right.
You know, you want to get front out like this. It's almost like if you're punching a punching bag. If you're punching a punching bag, you're not going to punch it like this. You're gonna draw back and punch it like that because that's where all the power comes from. Staying back, and then it's that torque from your core and pulling that front side through to make that good pitch.
Well done, partner.
Oh, he's the guy.
Yeah, but you asked the right question.
Little pop, shallow right, and Kelly Johnson is there to retire Jason Hayward for the first out of the bottom of the 7th inning.
But I like the way he described it too. I mean, for a major leaguer to put it in such a way that even I think a young kid who's just starting can learn something from it. I thought that was terrific. You agree with him?
I wholeheartedly agree. I think that a couple of things that people overlook is number one, the balance aspect of that delivery. And I always tell kids, look, everything you do in baseball comes from a balanced position, and pitching is no different. You have to be able to get to that point in your lineup your windup where if you stop, you're able to stand there and hold your position. If you can do that, then you're able to have that good weight transfer that Huddy was talking about. And I like the analogy he made to throwing a punch. That's the position you want to be in when you're delivering a ball. And the last thing, too, that he talked about that a lot of people don't talk about, it's particularly for young kids, but I see a lot of guys in the big leagues do it, too. It's tough to repeat your delivery time and time again and get to that point where you have good balanced position if you don't get into the rubber consistently in the same place all the time. And you watch a lot of young kids pitch, and they'll get in at the edge of the rubber, they'll get in at the middle of the rubber, they'll get in maybe one of their cleats on top of the rubber. So it's when you're doing that and you're getting into the mound at a different spot every time, well, it's no wonder you can't get to the same spot in your delivery all the time. So I wholeheartedly agree with them, and all those little things make it much easier to repeat your delivery.
Foul back our way.
Chan.
Oh. To Chan's credit, he was ready. Just a little high.
Never flinched.
No, he didn't. He had Val diving in front of him was part of the reason for that.
1-2 to Alex. And now 2-2. Fly ball to center. And 2 away.
And again, guys, there's a whole lot more to that from Tim Hudson that if you tune in Thursday and the pregame show from Chicago, you'll learn a lot more from Tim Hudson about pitching. And I learned a lot. I know that.
Jose Constanza is the batter. The pitcher spot is due next for Atlanta. One would think after 7 that Tim will probably be taken down for a pinch hitter. We'll see if that proves to be the case. And ball 1 to Jose. Might be fun watching this guy hit the ball in the thick grass at Wrigley Field starting tomorrow night, huh?
Oh, you think they might cut that down a little bit with Michael and Stanza coming to town?
You know there'll be some guys on the Braves staff encouraging the use of that deep grass.
Outfield grass too. The boys in the outfield are going to have to come after some balls quick.
Fouled away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. If Constanza can reach, Eric Hinsky will pinch hit in this inning.
Might see Eric get a start in Chicago. He was one of the guys that Freddie Gonzalez singled out as one of the players on his bench that needed to get 4 or 5 at bats, stay sharp. I've said this before about Jose, and I love this about him, is that he's willing to take one off the handle of the bat and fight it off. He may well strike out this at bat, but he's going to fight you.
Fly ball to center, and that'll retire the side. Boy, Cole Mentor has matched Tim Hudson pitch for pitch today. He's through 7, but he trails the game 1-0.
I've had my M&Ms. I'm good. Is it a blimpy summary or anything, or just a game summary? Okay. Okay. Well, and it's time now for our game time summary. 3rd inning, Alex Gonzalez, solo home run. Put the Braves on the board 1-0. And that's pretty much our highlights in terms of offensively. Had a great defensive play in the 6th inning after a leadoff triple by Kelly Johnson. Freddie Freeman, a nice over-the-shoulder catch and turn, fire home. A nice play all the way around. Freddie and Mac for the double, in the ending double play. Kept the score at 1-0. Kept Tim Hudson out there and kept us where we are at 1-0 here at the top of the 8th inning.
And that means it's time for an AT&T call to the bullpen. And this is a good spot to be if you're a Braves fan, leading, and Johnny Venter's on the hill.
I'll say, like your chances.
He's got the bottom part of the Arizona order coming up. It starts with Colin Cowgill.
It's his 5th outing of the homestand. 1 against Chicago, 2 against the Giants, and now 2 against the D-backs.
Driven to right field. Hayward going back. Still going. Has room. Tracks it down.
And points at Michael Bourne after the catch, appreciating the help he got from Michael, letting him know where the wall was, that he had room. Can't just be a spectator if you're the other outfielder. You got to get over there, hustle over there, and let them know that they've got room to make a catch like that. Nice play.
Venter's scoreless string now at 21 consecutive innings. And Upton will come on to pinch hit for Parra. Upton, a .299 hitter. And he skies one toward left. Stanza was playing on the warning track, and he's in a couple of steps and makes a play for the second out. I don't think I've ever seen an outfielder play on the warning track in this ballpark.
No, that was one. If you get it over my head, it's going to be a home run. So.
Attention, Dad. Saturday, September 3rd. The Braves are hosting Father-Daughter Day at the ballpark. Come share a Braves game with your little girl. Each package comes with a discounted ticket, Father-Daughter Day t-shirts, and a pregame parade. Braves.com/father-daughter, where you get those tickets. Ryan Roberts hits. And he hits a liner over second. Tying run aboard for Arizona. Top of the order with 2 outs. And it's Kelly Johnson.
And Roberts can run. Johnny may have to throw over there a couple of times just to let him know that he will fire to first. Roberts 14 stolen bases. He's been caught 7 times, but he will run.
Kelly has not hit lefties well this year, as you see.
But he did drop a bunt down on, was it Kimbrel or Venners the other night for a base hit? I got to look at that. That was against Kimbrel.
Bloomquist on deck. 1-0 Atlanta. 1 on, 2 outs in the 8th. "29 strikeouts and 107 at bats against lefties for Kelly Johnson this year." Braves bench signaling for Constanza to come in a couple of steps in left.
Lefties against Venners hitting 119 coming into play today. 8 for 67. He struck out 31 batters in 67 at bats.
So his splits and Kelly Johnson's splits would make you believe that this matchup is in the Braves' favor. However, past history says otherwise.
Kelly's always been a good fastball hitter. He swung and missed at 2 sliders.
Little tapper. Johnny's got it and throws out Kelly Johnson. Middle of the 8th inning. Braves looking for a little insurance, leading 1-0. Sports South is brought to you in part by Georgia Power, by AT&T Uverse TV, by Geico, and by Toyota. Hardly a cloud in the sky in Atlanta. And things looking sunny side up for the Braves at this point, leading 1-0 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Atlanta finally chased Josh Colmenter, allowed only 1 run today.
This guy's been good. David Hernandez, he has really stepped in and been a real good setup guy for them, for J.J. Putz. And then when Putz was on the DL, he stepped in and was a closer. That's why he's got the saves.
Eric Hinsky pinch hits, swings the first ball thrown his way, and grounds out to first. Justin Upton remains in the game. He'll play right after his first pinch hit appearance of the year. 1 out and the top of the order. Another reason, fellas, why Arizona is in first place in the West. Kevin Towers really upgraded his bullpen. Last year they had an awful time of it, trying to protect leads and keep games close. Arizona's bullpen ERA last year 5.74. And they allowed 62 homers.
Yeah, a lot of that right at the end of the game too, and Putz is taking care of that.
Bourne drives one into right. Upton long run. Plays it on a hop. It's off his glove. Michael around first, on his way to second. Turns on the afterburners. He's going to make third on the bobble. Big insurance run 90 feet away with 1 out.
He was already going to go for 2. He was going to make Upton throw him out because the Braves would like to have that insurance run. So he was already off to the races when Upton booted it.
That's ruled a single and a 2-base error.
Well, I agree with Joe. I think he had his mind made up that he was going for second all the way. He crossed the defense up a little. They had him played the other way, and he pulled that ball and had Upton going to his left, so he was going to have to turn around and fire on the run, and would have been a tough play to make.
I don't disagree with the call. I thought Upton should have been able to get a glove on it.
No, I agree with that aspect of it as well, but I do think he still would have had a double.
Well, for those of us who score the game in pencil, it is subject to change. And now 1-0 count to Prado. Squeeze was on. Prado missed it. And now Bourne in a rundown and tagged out. Bourne says they missed the tag, but they'll call him for being out of the baseline. Braves tried to squeeze the second run home and couldn't get the bunt down.
And Martin was mighty upset with himself. We saw Michael put on a show the other night in a rundown. Was that against the Giants or the Cubs? I think the Cubs. They couldn't catch him. Out of the line there. He's called out by the third base umpire, Bill Miller.
Good idea. They just got a tough pitch to bunt.
2 balls and a strike. Yeah, that rundown, Joe, you were talking about was against the Giants. That was the 8-3-4, 6-2-4-6.
Routine.
I know at one point he just said, hey, somebody tag me. I'm really.
That's what Chipper said. I'd have given up a long time before that, right? High fly into the crowd of 34,846 today. driven to right. Upton gives ground and makes the play, and that retires the side. Braves had Bourne 90 feet away with one out. They played for the squeeze and got squeezed themselves. 1-0 game to the ninth we go. It's Craig Kimbrell time. He'll answer the AT&T call to the bullpen. He tries to save this game for Braves starter Tim Hudson. And Kimbrell's good work in the ninth inning is the subject of our Academy Sports and Outdoor Leaderboard.
Leads the majors in that category, but Tommy, there's some numbers here that to me are just stupid. His last 29 appearances, that's 29 and 2/3 innings. Let's kind of round that off to 30, okay? He's only given up 10 hits. So that's one every 3 games when he usually works about an inning a game. He's issued 9 walks. That's about one every 3 games. And he struck out 50 over that period while going 20 for 20 in saves.
Yeah, he's striking out almost half the guys he faces, which is, like I said, for lack of a better term, stupid numbers. But look, he's taken the bull by the horns with this job and really turned himself into a fan favorite and a teammate favorite, and really, I mean, as close to automatic in this situation as you're going to get.
His 38 saves, second most all-time for a Major League rookie since 1969. Neftali Feliz of Texas had 40. Frank tries to make it 39, and this is the toughest save of all. 1-run lead in the ninth inning.
And the heart of their order up.
Was a scoring change, by the way. That 8th inning hit by Bourne, change it from a single to a double. The error in right allowed him to get to third base.
Change it. Double.
2 balls and a strike to Willie Bloomquist.
He worked Kimbrell for a walk 2 days ago when he picked up his 38th save. They actually had 2 guys on after Johnson had led off with a bunt single.
Look out, folks. That was whistled over the Braves dugout foul. And Blue, 8th pitch.
Yeah, and I didn't like that particular call there. He's speeding up his bat a little bit. He's having trouble getting around on the fastball to begin with. And all he is trying to do is get the bat in the way of the pitch. Real short, compact swing. He's not trying to hit the ball out of the park by any means.
There's some high heat. Kimbrel wins that battle. 1 away.
At 98 miles an hour. And with 1 out, here's our Toyota play of the game. And what a play it was back in the 6th inning. Runner at third, 1 out. Pop up out behind first. Freddie Freeman catches the ball. Great catch. But Kelly Johnson tries to tag and score. And look at the job McCann did to come back and get him. Double play. Ended the inning. Great defense.
Otherwise, we'd be at least 1-1 instead of 1-0 Atlanta with the bases empty and Chris Young up.
Oh, guess it was low.
Cap or tourniquet to stop the bleeding over there I had going on over there. Right there.
Might be a little both.
1 out walk. Young's aboard and he can run. He's already stolen a base. That was in the 1st inning, the 100th of his career. Now Montero bats.
Diamondbacks have had 9 of their last 11 games decided by 3 runs or less, and 6 of those were decided by 2 runs or less.
Flare into center field. Bourne playing very deeply, and that will allow Young to take third with 1 out. So a walk and a single has Arizona runners at the corners with 1 out.
And only the 2nd hit of the series for Montero. First hit today makes him 6 for his last 30. And a tough spot for Kimbrel that he hasn't been in a while.
Well, you've got a strikeout candidate at the plate. Speed-wise, a double play candidate as well.
Kimbrel has not given up a run since June 14th, 30 innings. And he's ahead of Goldschmidt, no balls and a strike.
Took a slider, chased a slider.
Must be looking slider,
I'd say. He'd already made his mind up to swing at that last one.
That is bounced foul.
What'd that bounce off of? I mean, they called it foul late, but I thought it went off McCann. No, just the plate.
The plate.
Go to the right elbow of Goldschmidt, too. On the ricochet off.
Maybe that's what I saw.
Whoa. That one was 100 miles an hour and almost to the backstop.
Nice play by Brian.
And if you recall, when Brian first came back from the disabled list, there was a pitch like that he didn't reach that resulted in a wild pitch and a run scored that hurt. So a nice save there.
And another. And a right on by. 2 outs.
When you have a big, strong guy like that has an uppercut swing, that's a good place to go because they just can't get on top of a high pitch.
Yeah, particularly when you've gone away. You've thrown him 100-mile-an-hour fastball, your nasty sliders. He's fouled a couple off. He's taken a couple. It was the perfect place to go. A little bit dangerous, like you say, with an uppercut swing, but for a guy like him, where he likes that pitch up there anyway, you get it higher than high, he can't lay off it.
Contact hitter here, though.
And he's already 1 for 3 in the game. Arizona with 5 hits. Burrows singled in the 5th, struck out to a double play in the 7th.
Alex is trying to get Constanza's attention from the bench to come in. Again, Burrows, not that much power, and especially to the opposite field, they don't want him just dumping something in.
Took a little off that one. Yeah. 99.
Craig needs 1 more strike. Just got it. Craig Kimbrell pitching with a little angry in the 9th inning. Saves a 1-0 victory for Tim Hudson. He strikes out the side for his 39th save of the year.
One save to go to tie the all-time rookie record set last year by Neftali Feliz in Texas.
I like his chances.
And he's fired up about that one.
The Braves sweep the Arizona Diamondbacks. Overwhelming starting and relief pitching for the Braves today. 1-0 the final. We'll talk Tim Hudson's start when we return to Atlanta in a moment.